Today we break down the shootout at SoFi, and then we get into the preview of the Lions versus the Bears. Then, in honor of last week's election day, the boys cast their ballots for Lions MVPs across the board. Of course, we check in on the Pistons, the Wings, our Max schools, along with the beatdown Sparty took from the Buckeyes, and U of M betting on themselves against Penn State, and Bill's thoughts on Harbaugh's suspension. Your lack of follow through on Harbaugh's suspension cost you. And Bill, if you have,
it's not something you can use; it's something that you can feel.
Okay, perfect.
I'm just kidding, dude. It's so
like
bad.
Dude, there was no hesitation. No way.
No, the worst part is now when it.
Welcome to the Silver Jubilee +1 episode of the BDE Sports Talk Podcast. Dudes, what'd you see over the weekend?
Well, let me tell you, I saw a lot of things this weekend.
Saw another guy die.
Nope, I didn't.
You're just looking for dudes that die videos.
Just walking the tracks.
That video.
A guy died by a skate, but he wasn't playing hockey.
Yeah, that video still haunts me.
It's
But
insane.
I did go to a hockey game this weekend. I went to my first Griffins game. And it was good. It was good. It was fun. Took Charlie and my niece. They had a great time. Charlie loved it. She more or less liked the beginning, and then I bought her one of those bells, little cowbells. Worst financial decision I've ever made.
I saw that. I was like, oof. I was like, no wonder it's on top of the fridge.
Well, and then on yeah, I'll put it up there. And on top of that, there was a little boy who had a bell as well. So they started ringing their bell. He would ring his bell, then she would ring her bell, and then they started looking at each other. I'm like, "What are you doing? You're 6 years old." She's like, "Stop, Dad." I'm like, watch the hockey game.
He's 8. He's too
having her
old for
keep
you.
score of the hockey game. Got her working the program. I want you to mark down points for each one of these guys.
That's on goal.
I wanted to see who gets how many second assists on these.
So yeah, it was fun. They started to make a comeback in the third. They ended up losing. So after the last goal, it was like a minute and a half left, and I was like, "Let's get out of here." That way we beat the crowd and whatnot. And sure enough, a fight broke out right after we left. The whole game, it was getting chippy and chippier and chippier. I'm like, "Oh, these dudes are gonna throw down," and the refs wouldn't let them. And then as soon as I saw the video, and it was almost a full team brawl. And that, my friends, moral of the story: you never leave early, right?
You missed something good, man.
Usually,
almost every time
it goes, yeah.
So, yeah, no, that's what I did this weekend. I went to a concert on Saturday. Young Giant, for anyone who knows who they are. Great band. Fun time. So, 20 Monroe Live. If you ever go to a concert there, go. Great venue.
I'll find that on Ticketmaster. I mean, we're...
Yeah, brought to you by our sponsor, Ticketmaster. They'll get you into wherever you want to go.
Yeah. Yeah, my weekend was pretty good. I went to the horse races in Northville.
On the ponies.
It was last one of the year, I think my buddy said. So it was dollar beer night. There's supposed to be dollar dogs, but it's too cold to get the grill out. So I just had to eat a whole frozen pizza to myself. at the track. So that was great.
You brought
One
your
that-
own Jack's frozen pizza.
You guys pop this in the oven real quick or what?
It's just pre-cooked.
Won my first bet and then continued to lose the rest of my bets. But overall, it was a pretty good time. And then it's unrelated to that, but I started watching this show over the weekend that has the craziest premise I've ever like. It was like a cringy to watch. It was called MILF Manor. It's on a hub, some would say.
Yeah, exactly.
No, for real. It's a real show, right? So it's as you would expect. It's a group of moms, right? And then, but the twist is the dating pool is their sons. So because the point is, yeah, and could you imagine being like, I'm going on a dating show, mom? She's like, oh, me too. And then you show up and she's there. Like, oh
dude.
no. And then so the guys are now dating the moms, and like it's a weird dynamic. And there's like one normal guy. There's one normal guy that's like, I'm just not finding attraction to any of these moms. and he just happens to be the male stripper. He's like, I'm just not. He's like, I'm not gonna fake it for everybody. Like, I don't know, man. It was wild. It was cringy. I don't know. It was weird. I couldn't stop watching.
Yeah, fair enough.
It was wild.
Dude, that's crazy.
Hold on, before. Oh, real quick. Oh, go ahead, Dean.
No, I was just saying that was weird, man. It was just weird.
For the whole dollar dog thing, there were $2 dogs at the Griffins games, and we got there early to where we could get as many hot dogs as we want. By the halfway through the second period, they said they were out of hot dogs. You had to have known that half of the people are going for the hot dogs, right?
It's part of the promotion.
Half the people there were going for hot dogs.
I was one.
How many people? You were only going for the dogs?
Well, I mean, I guess
you spend 6 and get 8.
$2 hot dogs is enticing. So when I went back, there was another lady worker, and she goes, "Oh no, we do have some." And so I'm like, "Could I get 5?"
Yeah.
So, and it was not just for me, obviously, but 3 of them were. And
yeah, right.
The majority of the dogs were for me.
I want to take one home soon. She goes, "You're only allowed 2." I'm like, when did that become a thing? Because I got 5 the first time.
Be like, there's 3 of us.
I gotta feed a family. That's why I came here tonight.
like this ain't beer. You don't limit 2 dogs.
Dude, they're not losing money on a $2 hot dog either. So I don't know why.
And they're not workers. They weren't workers of Van Andel Arena either. It was volunteers from like different. It looked like a travel team on one cafeteria, a band. You know what I mean? Band parents, whatever. You know. So I think she was trying to save some dogs for herself.
She's like, I got $4. Like, I gotta save $2.
Dude, that's nuts. No, yeah, I didn't really do much. I did see kind of a wacky story. It wasn't like over the weekend. It was sometime within the last couple months, but maybe you guys saw this. It was like some carnival ride in Canada. It's like 2 things shaped like axes, but it goes like the big boat, you know, like that. Except it goes a full 360.
Yeah.
And it stops at the top.
Yeah.
And the people were stuck.
Yeah.
Oh,
upside down for 30 minutes.
Man.
30 minutes.
For over 30 minutes, they were upside down, and they were like yelling up there, "You guys okay?" And they're all like, "No, we're not okay."
Oh, I'd be
like, what
out.
do you think, man? Out. And of course, they set the seats up so like you're facing people, like
Yeah.
you're face to face instead
Yeah,
of
like
everybody
the ship,
behind
right?
you.
Right.
Yeah, you're face to face. Literally the ride says like so you could see the fear and excitement on your friend's face. Like literal fear
Yeah.
of
Oh my
death
gosh.
from 75 feet in the air.
Could you
But I
imagine if
thought
it was? Could you imagine if it was just like the ship and there was no straps?
oh dude.
It's just seats. Everybody's.
How
long can you hang?
I mean, everybody's 30 minutes. Nobody's got that.
Trying to test these pipes, bro.
And those aren't like grippy seats on the boat either. I mean, you're
No.
done after like 2
No, yeah.
seconds. You're
I'm
just trying to like
afraid.
grip that thing.
I'm afraid it only goes like a quarter of the way up. I'm like, "Ah!"
Why were we going upside down? I don't get it.
Yeah. When we have no restraints.
It's supposed to go super fast. Upside down.
But what's crazy too is that once they got the ride unjammed, they still had to finish the ride. Like they couldn't, the people operating it couldn't make it stop. Like they have to like, we got to let it go through after we unjammed it.
Oh man. Oh.
Can you imagine?
Oh,
Just like literal screams. Like this isn't like fun screams anymore. This is
Oh,
dude, I saw that. I was like, that is wild. I did want to
Oh.
bring up. I don't know if you guys saw one comment on one of our recent TikTok. It was from the last time I hosted, and it was just the intro part of the show. So it was mostly just me talking and then Bill almost throwing up. And the comment was from user 501, a bunch of numbers,
Yeah.
and all it said was "shut up."
Yeah, I saw that.
You saw that?
Yeah.
Like, F you too, man. All it was the intro. Just like shut up. Like,
Hey,
why?
We appreciate the comment, though.
Yeah. Hey, you know what?
Thanks for
leaving
commenting.
the comment.
At least you commented. We appreciate
Well,
it.
I got a real kick out of that when I saw it. I was like, what the hell, man?
That's hilarious.
I don't know.
I saw that too.
You know what made me
real-
say what? Yeah.
No, go ahead.
No. I was going on. I was moving on.
What I was gonna say to your story of the ride. I got stuck on a ride once, and it was at SeaWorld. And the coaster, you sit and then it tilts you down. So it's called the Manta, and you're supposed to be like a manna, in the roller coaster. So we got done, and we're sitting there, you're like this, and we're sitting there, and of course, this was 9 years ago. Kate and I were on our honeymoon, and she's next to me, and like 3 minutes goes by, and we're not moving. And I'm one of those people that I don't like not having control of my body. So like obviously like being upside down like those people, I
So
would be
you just went into
flipping out.
convulsions.
I started a panic attack because
Oh,
someone
no.
didn't want to get on the ride, and I'm like, Kate, this is hand to God true story. I'm going, can we get on? Can someone get this ride moving? I'm yelling. I'm like, why are we still here? Kate's like, Bill, you have to settle down. I'm like, I can't move my head. I'm like freaking out. I'm sure that these people behind are like, dude, shut up. It was maybe 5 minutes at the most, too. And that, yeah, it just.
There's like a
when you said
10-year-old
that story,
pissed off
man.
at you on the ride.
Oh, man. Yeah, and it was just because someone didn't want to get on the ride. But like, you're like, my head was like getting tired, and well, not a fan.
She just went limp.
Yeah. So, anyways, I was just thinking about that.
Well, that's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, I would hate to get stuck on a ride. Like just absolutely wild.
I think that's where most.
Speaking of wild, how about that game Sunday, the shootout at SoFi, Lions and the Chargers. Obviously a 41-38 walk-off field goal win. I know Bill loves his PFF, so I'll just go ahead and rock that out real quick. We can't go by without a little PFF action. St. Brown was the number one guy in offense. Goff, Monty, Sewell. Bottom of the offense was Khalif Raymond, Jonah Jackson, James Mitchell. Bottom of the defense, you could probably guess, was some secondary guys based on the amount of points that were scored. Sutton, Kirby, Branch, they were all at the bottom. At the top, Ali McNeil, Hutchinson, Harris. Technically, Rodrigo had the highest PFF defensive grade, but he only played 5 snaps. So it's like, I mean, you count that? I don't know. So yeah, that was that. And I thought the one interesting thing that I thought was pretty cool, I don't know if you guys probably saw that, was Monty's 75-yard touchdown where they actually checked into that play. They came out in the wrong personnel. St. Brown was saying, he's like, yeah, I wasn't even sure what I was supposed to do on that play. And I looked over at Goff, and Goff was just kind of like, like, I got you kind of thing. And he checked out to that run, which ended up in that sweet touchdown. But I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, Goff just kind of knows how to handle it. But
like Bobby Boucher when when he looks when he's about to throw the like,
yeah,
let's do it, Bobby. You got it, friend.
I don't know. Bill, what'd you see out there?
Did you say SoFi or SoFi Ford Field? I didn't hear you. Didn't know if that was co-sponsored.
Ford Far West.
Yeah. Great turnout, by the way. It almost felt like 50-50 at times. So Lions offense, my notes, Lions offense was spectacular, especially in the run game. You have 2 studs in the backfield. Amon-Ra was a beast as usual. I wanted to point out that the Decker penalty on that first touchdown that got called back was terrible. That was a terrible call. Whether I mean, I guess it's technical or not, I didn't think it was great. The defense had their issues. It's funny that you say the secondary was the lowest grade, which I understand that, but there wasn't a lot of pressure on Herbert. And when he was getting pressure, he was getting out of the pocket. I had defense before you even brought that up. Defense had their issues. Biggest one was putting pressure on Herbert. There were no sacks. I put, is it a cause for concern? Not as much as some fans are portraying it to be. They don't play that many good quarterbacks. It'll probably be a problem in the playoffs. But that being said, and I think we've talked about this before, is this rebuild they weren't supposed to be this good this year. This good. You figured they would be pretty good, but to be 7-2 with a chance to we're looking at possibly 12-2, 13-2. Going forward.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the NFL, so they might let one slip somewhere. But it, like I said, it does bring up what I said about them not playing well against above average QBs and QBs that can maneuver outside the pocket. I also said that Anzalone played a good game. And then my last point was some fans calling Hutch a mid player are the worst. The absolute worst.
I mean, that's pretty dumb.
I saw it. I can't believe. You know what? I can't say I can't believe. I do believe it.
So you saw my tweet then.
And it goes, with that, there were the people that were supporting that statement were like, oh, well, the only people who don't think he's a mid player is the Michigan blowhards, and he's not at Michigan anymore. And I'm like, dude, I'm way past him being at Michigan. He's a Lion,
Right,
I don't care if Taylor Decker, he went to Ohio State. Love Taylor Decker. care less that he went to Ohio State.
100%. Yeah.
You know, Jonah Jackson, even though he's hurt again. But I love watching him pull, by the way.
Jonah Jackson.
Yeah. So
get you
those are notes I have in that game. They played a good game. Tough to win on the road in the NFL against a good team, but you know, good quarterback. So yeah, no, I was happy with it.
I agree with Bill. On a side note, I saw a clip of people comparing the way Hutchinson runs to Waluigi in Mario Party, and I can't unsee it now, especially when they made a substitute during one of the plays during the game. The Chargers were running like a hurry up, but they made a substitution. So they were able to bring Hutch off the field, and now he was running off the field super slow, just wow. It's like, man, this guy, look at him. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that. I thought that was funny. I was like, man, he really does run like Waluigi. A mid Waluigi, not even a good Waluigi.
It's funny that he's mid when he was top 3 in PFF too. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that's a stupid take. That seems like just a troll.
Yeah, dude.
The amount of double teams he's taken and stuff like that.
I mean, it seems like he gets held a lot too.
And all the time.
Yeah. Or maybe we're biased, but I mean, that's what it looks like.
I mean, yes and no. I would say that we're biased. I think they could
throw it a couple more times.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, then they'd probably throw it all game. But this isn't Pee Wee football either, where it's like, oh, you know, you got to let the kids play. Like, these are grown men getting paid millions of dollars. You throw the flag, all right? Just throw it. Yeah. Lions have gotten those flags thrown on them all the time. Mm-hmm. Anyway, yeah, I agree with Bill. The offense was clicking on all cylinders. They made play after play, especially on fourth downs. I mean, what would they go for, like 9 fourth down? I know that's an exaggeration, but they went for a lot. Some ballsy calls, 4th and 5, going for it, leaving the offense. I'm not even faking the punt, just going for it. I thought it's good to see. I like the aggression, but you know, sometimes, especially when they were up 10-3 and he didn't take the field goal the first time, given they were on like the 1 or 2 or something, I thought they should have taken the points. It didn't end up in anything for the Chargers, so I mean, no harm, no foul, I guess, at that point. But I thought he should have taken the points there. But overall, the offense played great. They couldn't have executed a better game plan against that defense, especially that front 7 that they have. They have a lot of good pressure. One of the stats that I saw for Goff was while being blitzed, he was 9 of 12 for 131 yards and 2 touchdowns with a 149.7 passer rating, which, I mean, it doesn't put when he's under pressure, he folds.
Well, was he under pressure?
I don't know. He was being blitzed though, so you assume there was at least some pressure. You know what I mean? Like, to an extent. Like, I didn't look up that much, but yeah. So I thought that was good. Also, I saw a stat that I thought it was funny because I think about those 4.5 years where we didn't have the 100-yard rusher for a running back. In 4 of the last 6 games, we've had a 100-yard rusher at running back, and it's wild to think. You know what I mean? When, like, what was it? It was like Javid Best was like 3 yards short of a 100-yard game at one time.
Yeah.
And then they took him out or whatever. It was like, oh, the drought. Keep the curse.
Yeah. And then it wasn't until Reggie had one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then Reggie ended up getting one.
Reggie.
One. Moving on from that, the defense, obviously, they somewhat struggled. They weren't able to get pressure, like Bill said. Secondary got lit up. But, you know, I mean, and they didn't get any sacks. But, you know, it's the NFL, like Bill was saying. And honestly, the Chargers have a lot of elite pieces on that team. So, I mean, to pull it off the win in the NFL, you know, it's never easy. I mean, Eckler and Herbert and Keenan Allen are both legitimate guys. So, you know, overall, I thought it was a good game. Glad the Lions won. Riley Patterson getting that field goal at the end. Thought they could have gotten a little bit closer, but
Was I the only one? Dean, the guys brought it up that you said you could hear me.
Yeah.
Was I the only one that thought they had no timeouts? Like the lights on the timeout thing weren't lit, and then all of a sudden one was lit. I'm sitting there, I'm going,
Well,
what are you doing?
it
What are you
blended.
doing?
It blended in, and then they shadowed their timeouts because I could hear him. He's like, all right, now you got to hurry up, get out on the field. He's like, all right, and then Riley's like, just like relaxing, his helmet's off, and so he's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? He's like, get out there. There's like 5 seconds. And I'm like, they got timeouts.
Oh man,
that had me laughing. I was like, they got timeout. I was like, he'll be happy when you call this timeout here in a second.
Yeah, and then I go, oh, they did have a timeout.
Okay.
I thought it was weird too. I'm like, what is going on right now? Like it was what, like 3rd and 11, and then they kneeled it. I'm like,
yeah.
Okay, well, there's still like 30 seconds left.
That would be wild if you didn't think they had any timeouts. You're like, huh?
And they're not hurrying up
right now. Because I'd be
too.
freaking out. Like, what are you doing? Why are we kneeling?
Yeah, I'm like, all right, there's still 30 seconds left. They can trot them out right
just
now.
Wait and then spike it.
Set up.
Yeah, just wait and spike it.
Like, what are you doing?
Oh, man. That's funny.
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts?
That was it, man. I mean, yeah, it's pretty much the same deal. You know, a lot of points. I mean, you'd love to see what the offense was doing out there. I'd love to see Goff still, staying in control, as much as he can be. I mean, that's for all the great pieces you have. I mean, at the end of the day, it's the quarterback that kind of keeps that ship straight if you want to make a run in the playoffs, and defense. And so that's the one thing that's concerning is, can't be giving up 38, to the Cowboys or, the Niners in the playoffs, man, because you're just not going to get 41. So
yeah.
Maybe that's just way too forward thinking, considering there's still games to be played, just like this weekend, Justin Fields is supposed to be back. And, we're talking about the pressure and all that stuff. I mean, Dean, do you think that moves the needle against the Bears that he's there and we had such a hard time against Lamar and Herbert getting outside the pocket?
Well, Justin Fields is a poor man's Lamar Jackson. Okay, he's not Lamar.
Hey,
Jackson.
Don't give him that bulletin board material. Remember Jared Goff? What do you say? I'm no poor man's Matt Ryan or something like that.
I mean, it'd be sweet if I don't like Justin Fields, but it'd be sweet if he was listening to this.
Yeah, dude,
I don't know why he would be.
Our views would shoot way up.
He went to Ohio State and he plays for the Bears. But he's listening. He's listening to an all Michigan podcast. What?
He wants to hear that trash being talked about him this week.
Wants to hear. He's like, I was like, oh yeah, I'm a poor man's Lamar Jackson. Well, I mean, come on, he's not Lamar Jackson. He can't throw like Lamar Jackson, but he's got. I mean, don't get me wrong. That is where the Lions seem to struggle is when they go against these types of quarterbacks. Should be. I mean, I would expect the Lions to win this game. I mean, just based on just the year so far. I mean, they are a division opponent and the Lions have won the last 4 in a row, right? So, or 3 in a row, I don't know what it is, but so, I mean, it wouldn't be crazy for the Bears to be due for one, and they're at home, right, too? It's at Soldier Field.
Lions, no, it's at Detroit.
Oh. All right, let me write down some new notes. No, well, still, I don't see them dropping this one. I could see them maybe dropping one in Soldier, maybe. That's a big maybe.
Sure.
But right now, I mean, in fairness to the Bears, they are the 5th ranked rushing attack in the league right now. It should play into what the Lions defense does best. In theory, I know, like I said, scrambling quarterbacks, a lot of that's coming from Justin Fields. But if they can contain him and obviously make him throw, because that's going to be the goal, given he's had games where he can light it up too. He's got good receivers out there. But if they can contain him and not let them, not to repeat a line, but not to run a poor man's Ravens offense against us, where they don't know what, you know what I mean? Because when they played the Ravens, it was obvious that they didn't know what to cover. Because if they didn't keep track of Lamar, then he was running. And if they were keeping track of him, he was throwing it over their heads. So, but Justin Fields isn't, I mean, he could. It's not impossible, right? Everybody's got their day. But I think they were better with Bajan, to be honest. I mean, didn't they win their last 2-3 games with him? So
no.
last
But
two.
did
I
they?
know they just beat the Panthers, and
They did.
I thought they won
played?
16 to. I thought they won 16-13.
It's very possible. Yeah, it was
Um,
maybe that was a Thursday night game last or something like that.
yeah, I wrote it down. Coming off a win last week.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think
So
they had
we'll
lost
see. You know,
before that, but
I mean, they had a tough time against the Panthers, but you know, the Panthers have a good defense, and I mean, you know, if we can, I think we can score more than 16 points. So as long as they can do that, I think they'll be fine. So if you want a score prediction, I think it'll be 34-17. Lions. I think it's going to be a 2-touchdown one, at least, minimum.
that's a big score. Bill, you thinking something like that?
Yeah, I actually had 31-17.
Hmm.
For context, and from last year, so both times Justin Fields last year had games of over 100 yards rushing. The first time when they beat him 31-30, it was when I just looked, he had 160 something yards rushing and 130 yards passing or something like that. So the last time they played, which was in Detroit, when Detroit won 41-10, Justin Fields was again the leading rusher, and he had 10 carries for 132 yards. With that being said, he was 7-21 for 75 yards passing. So you're going to get Justin Fields running the ball. What do I have here? So, dang it. I had something to go with that. I was going to say, you know, they're going to have to, like Dean said, they're going to have to contain him. They're going to hope that he doesn't get out in space. I have a feeling, though, that Aaron Glenn, now coaching against him twice, I mean, I guess history lately hasn't shown that he's been great against mobile quarterbacks, but it seems like he can plan for Justin Fields. I have Ford Field's going to be loud as always. Chicago's giving up 25.5 points a game, which is 27th in the league. They're also dead last in the league in turnover differential. I think it's like -9 right now. Detroit, on the other hand, is +1. They aren't very good at defending the pass, but they are second in the league in rushing yards allowed per game, the Bears. In third, the Lions. Offensively, Detroit is second in total offense. Chicago's 20th. Here we go. They'll need to contain Fields, which scares me. Hopefully, they can keep him from getting out into space. I do think that an already determined Montgomery is going to have a good game against them. Whether that be for 100 yards or a little, whatever the case may be, I think he'll have a good game against them. But based on the stats, Goff is going to need to continue to play well. I think Ben Johnson will do a good job of doing that against a defense I think they can pass the ball all over on. So, with that said, I had Detroit 31-17.
Yeah, man. I mean, I would definitely think somewhere along those lines. I was thinking more like 27-14 ish, and I think it'll look closer than that, honestly. And maybe not because it's in Detroit, but you know, Chicago should be good. Should be pretty good. I mean, think of all the pieces they've added on defense. Those linebackers, they just added Montez Sweat. You know, I mean,
DJ Moore on offense.
I mean, yeah, you got DJ Moore on offense. Cole Kmet's a good tight end. You know, they've got weapons. and Justin Fields isn't total garbage. I mean, he can make plays. Now, doesn't always make the right play, but I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, if that's the best you got, that's still enough to, I think, at least give you a 500 record. But so who knows? Maybe it's the coaching, maybe it's just chemistry. It's hard to say, man. I like the Lions to win. Obviously, I will never pick them to lose to the Bears, anyway. So I just maybe not never, but the Bears would have to be having like one of those years, and we'd have to be having one of those years. So we'll see. I'm excited for it. There's been so much good play from the Lions this year that I'm just excited to see how the rest of the season plays out, and just seeing each team, offense, defense, coaching, all that stuff has really, really come a long way. And given that there was an election day just a week ago, it seemed like it'd be fun to do. Everybody casts their ballot for team MVPs at this point, and we'll start with Bill, and we'll go with the Lions offensive MVP. Who do you got so far this year?
Hapaludi Vitae.
I think he just shut down.
Yeah.
Right?
He's out. He's
Campbell-
done.
Yeah, I think Campbell said he probably won't play. Offensive MVP. I have. You got to go with Jared Goff. I don't know if that's the easy answer, but he's had his moments. It's Jared Goff. You know what I mean? But with that said, he is 5th in the league in passing yards. He's 6th in QBR, 12th in touchdowns, and 9th in the league in completion percentage. I also said you could definitely throw Amon-Ra in there with how he's played, and he's just been so valuable to them. I know we had that you had to get rid of one earlier in the season, and I said Amon-Ra, and I mean, it's just, what was it? Goff, Sewell, Amon-Ra?
Yeah.
I mean, either one of those guys that you had to let go, it's not great. It's not you know what I mean? Either way you have it. But with just he's been the leader that they've needed. And he's come into his own. He's played really well. And we'll see what happens when they get a new offensive coordinator, whether they keep the same game plan, and keep rolling with that. Obviously, Ben Johnson's probably going to get a head coaching job after this season. Also, to me, another honorable mention or second to me was the offensive line.
We said one.
Sorry.
You've named
Okay,
7 starters.
Yeah. No,
I'd also like to put Josh Reynolds up there.
Sorry,
I'm gonna go ahead. Laporta, maybe.
I had some stats, but I'll let you guys go, and I'll chime in. Is
there anybody left to choose, Dean?
Anybody on the offense?
I even led with Vitae.
You did.
Well, yeah. Well, I'll continue off of what Bill was saying. I actually went with Sewell on the O line. I mean, and just I guess in general the whole O line, even the backups. I mean, they've been. I mean, there doesn't matter who's in. It doesn't seem like, and somebody got hurt. You know what I mean? Like it seems pretty. Like the depth is there for guys, and they're all versatile too. Like I know Sorsdal plays tackle, but he also can move into guard. Obviously Graham can play all 3 of the inside positions. So it's good to see. But I did pick Sewell. I mean, he hasn't given up a sack yet this year. I mean, he's going up against some of the best pass rushers in the league. And he's holding his own. I mean, there's a reason they made him captain, and I mean, that's I also had some stuff on St. Brown, but those were said.
I didn't have anything. I didn't say anything about St. Brown.
No, I didn't really have much on him, but I did have him written down as well, just as an honorable mention type of thing. But I'll leave that for Eddie.
Yeah, I'm actually glad you went that way, because most times I was gonna take St. Brown. I just thought maybe you guys would say that. So I just wrote down Sewell based on the things you said, going against Bosa and Crosby the last 2 times out, crushing it. Then I also wrote down that normally I'd go with St. Brown, because I thought maybe he'd be gone by the time I said something. So yeah, I'll take St. Brown all day, every day. I mean, the guy just does it every single week. And what?
No,
What?
nothing. Go ahead. I
Okay.
mean, the guy gave you one Facebook like. I mean,
Dude, he's my favorite player on the team.
yeah, I get that.
And before the
I wonder
like
if
on
it-
Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, I
actually.
wonder if Goff gave you the like. You'd be all number 16. So.
Even if Goff gave me the like, I would say we'd be 7-2 with Tyson Badgett as our quarterback right now.
That's not even true. Not even true. And Goff isn't my favorite player on the team.
I'm just joking. I love Goff. He's doing awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, if he could like any of my stuff, I mean, that would be sweet too.
Yeah.
Start giving him more love. But St. Brown's he's the dude. He just is.
Yeah.
He embodies everything that is Lions culture. Same with Sewell. And he's
Goff.
having another amazing year. So I mean, happy to say it's St. Brown. So moving on.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Whoa. That touchdown Sully was pretty awesome, by the way.
Are you into that?
Man, have you seen the video on that, by the way?
Uh-uh.
Like the first person who did it?
The college.
Yeah. St. Brown did it really good, by the way. They showed like a different angle of it. It looked a lot better than the original TV angle. Before you get into defensive MVP, to Dean's point, the offensive line, they're ranked 3rd in the league in pass blocking efficiency. They've only allowed 72 pressures and 311 dropbacks, which is 23.1%. Also, no offensive line has allowed fewer sacks according to PFF. And obviously the run games look great because of them. So big kudos to them. Big kudos to Hank Fraley, really. So
yeah. So yeah, I mean, moving on to defense. I'm not sure what to say. Like, definitely big kudos to all those guys, no doubt. I mean, those are amazing numbers.
Yeah.
To say the least. Yeah. So, Dean, who do you got on defense?
This one was a little bit tougher for me to pick. I didn't want to go. I mean, I think the obvious 2 answers I think would either be Hutch or Aleem, who has played way better than expected. But I actually went with Anzalone. I know we had somewhat talked about him earlier. I mean, he leads the team, in tackles. He has 3 sacks. I mean, I think the guys really look to him when they need something, especially when it comes to reading the defenses out there. What's wrong? Why is everybody? What's wrong with Anzalone?
Nothing. There's nothing wrong with Anzalone.
I get the feeling we all chose Anzalone.
Was he the most obvious? I thought maybe.
Yeah, I was like,
I would have went with the dream. All right, well, I'm going to move on to the dream. Great leader. I think the guys really look to him.
You just substitute.
Just the dream now.
I think he also has the same amount of sacks too. I'm not sure.
I think he is. Yeah, you're right. He does have.
It's right
sacks.
there.
Yeah,
it's right there.
It's right there. I just think overall he's played up. I'm going to talk about Anzalone. He's played up to that contract that they've given him. I know he's had a couple of rough spots here and there, but I mean, it's bound to happen. And I mean, currently he's our best linebacker. So and he looks the part. So I went with Anzalone.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely did the same thing for all the things you said, and he's also first in tackles for losses, third in passes defended on the team. Since you went that route, another guy I was looking at was Cam Sutton. I know he was bottom at our of PFF last game, so it's hard to say it right now, but I think he's made a huge difference in general to the secondary this year. Just the feel of it. I mean, you could probably say Branch has something to do with that too, but it's been a while. Like we've talked about before, since you could really count on a corner to handle the job at least well for the whole game. Uh, I mean, you're going to give up stuff here and there. It's just nature of it. But I've really liked what I've seen out of Cam Sutton. I was excited when they signed him. I think he's done exactly what he was brought here to do, and yeah, so I like that. I really like Anzalone too because he's really stepped up big time.
Yeah, no, I have the same thing. Like you said, team leader in tackles, 66 tackles, 43 of those are solo, 3 sacks. Also has 5 passes defended with no yards given up. Like Dean said, he's been a steady leader for this defense. Also, credit to AG and Dan for not giving up on him when they could have. Obviously, there was a lot of talk, not just from us, there were a lot of other people that, were very questionable on him and whether he should, what we thought Campbell would take over at some point for him. You know, so yeah, credit to those guys for really sticking with him, and it's worked out. So
yeah, I mean, they definitely saw it. I mean, that's something good coaching will do for you, right? So that kind of brings me to the coach of the year candidate, and I'll go first on this one because it's probably that might be the same answer also. But we were picking coach of the year outside of MCDC. Bill already said the guy's name, but got to go with Hank Fraley, the offensive line coach. I mean, given all the substitutions this year, the different lineups that Bill said the numbers on the line earlier, and I mean, now granted, there's some elite talent up there too, but that's also been missing here or there. The guys he brings up and puts in have done at least pretty well. I mean, Colby Sarsdall is a 5th round pick from William and Mary, and he stepped in and started and did okay. I mean, you had to coach that kid up, to be ready to play in the NFL from William and Mary. So I went with Hank Fraley, and I feel like that might be a real easy choice, but I think it's probably the right one.
Not the easiest choice, but
what'd you go with, Dean?
Easy choice. What did I go with?
Yeah.
Well, it was Hank Fraley.
Oh, nice.
But I did write down another one. So, do you want me to just go ahead, or?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I thought you wanted to go.
No.
Just making sure I didn't take your coach or something else.
No.
Kind of like what you said earlier, Ed. Similar to you picking Cam Sutton as your defensive MVP, I went with my second choice was Dre Bly. Actually, he's been, anytime I get a chance to say his name, he was one of my favorite players growing up. So any chance I get to put him in for a vote for anything, he's my Dale Davis of the Lions coaching staff.
Dale Davis.
I love me some double D's, man. I love double D's. I loved it. I was writing in all-star votes for Dale Davis when he was on the team.
Whoever watches this show and you loved that he said Dale Davis, you definitely made it to the right place.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, hit that like button. Hit the like button,
man.
Hit that like button.
We'll do a full Dale Davis breakdown.
Only with the Pistons, though. None of his earlier parts.
Yeah, none of the other crap.
Just the time he rode the bench for the Pistons. But yeah, I went with Dre Bly. I think the secondary, like you said, has looked. I mean, it's not complete yet, but it's obviously improved. I mean, you've seen Jerry Jacobs step up in a big way. Cam Sutton has been huge. He's putting guys in the right places. You know, CJ Gardner-Johnson goes down. Tracy Walker and Melifonwu were stepping up. You know, now it's all pretty much just Tracy Walker, which I thought should have been the call to begin with. But he's putting these guys in the right positions. I mean that Jerry Jacobs having 3 picks this year. I mean, I know he missed 1 or 2 games, but I mean that's huge. I mean that was a guy that wasn't getting picks like that, and he might get one, but given he's getting more playing time, and if Dre Bly has anything like a similar role to like what Aubrey Pleasant had, I mean he's clearly making a big difference. I know they just got 38 dropped on their head on Sunday, but I think overall, he's putting these guys in the right spots in the secondary for what they have to work with.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting about that too. The 38, I put some of that. There's something about AG's coaching style that confuses me. I think he gets a little he overthinks it, I think, sometimes, because he knows football. He's forgotten more football than we'll ever know, right?
Mhm.
So I think he gets a little cute sometimes and thinks like, oh, if I play this exact scheme, there's no way, like maybe a bend but don't break kind of thing is what I see. Like, they were tearing us up we were in a zone a lot of the game, from what I remember. And Justin Herbert just extend the plays. I mean, that's what happened with Baltimore. They extend the plays and there's just holes in the zone. And and not mixing it up. So sometimes I think AG is also just very, very much adamant in how he feels it should be, and he'll stick, little bit too long on it. But that's kind of nitpicking too, considering we only have 2 losses. But
right, a lot of those they played pretty well on defense.
Yeah, dude, they played pretty damn good too in a lot of those games. So I'm just gonna shut up. Bill, who'd you take for defensive
for
or
coach?
the coach? Yeah.
So
coach. Which defensive coach is your favorite?
So I thought the popular answer was going to be Ben Johnson.
Yeah,
sure.
Hank Fraley is a great answer. Wrong, but great answer. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's a great answer. I went with Dave Phipp. I know that sounds weird, but the special teams has been great for Detroit. It's been a huge positive for this team. He doesn't get the flowers that he should get.
He could teach Riley Patterson to kick a 53-yard field goal. That'd be nice.
It's developing.
He's developing his 50-yard.
No big plays have been given up as far as I can remember. As far as this year, Jack Fox has been lights out. Riley's kicked the ball well, given 50 and in, but still nailed the game winner. Fun stat for you. He's 19, 23, and 1 as the Lions special team coordinator. That makes him the second most successful special teams coordinator in Lions history. That's crazy. And he's only been here.
It's crazy.
2.5 years. So no, I
so if this thing falls apart, he should be the guy they cut loose.
It depends. If they're giving up kickoff, gobs of yards on kickoffs and punts, but they haven't at all.
I mean, I gotta say, I really like the choice, because I didn't think you were gonna go that way, and they have done a really good job. So
yeah, well, and Ben Johnson's Ben Johnson. You know what I mean? He's obviously a great coach. So I mean, not a lot said about Hank Fraley. Not a lot's been said about Mark Brunell. Not a lot's been said about Dave Phipp.
Brunell would have been a good choice too.
Dre Bly.
I thought that's who he was gonna. I thought you were gonna pick Mark Brunell.
Well, I gave him his flowers already.
A lot of those young guys. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
No, I was moving on again.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
So, a lot of those young guys out there, man, we were talking about, like Colby Sorsdahl, all of those guys. I mean, they got to get coached up pretty good, man. And so it's been huge to see these rookies out here getting in there and playing really well. Bill, who do you got for your rookie of the year so far?
For me, Jahmyr Gibbs. He
Okay.
has gotten better every week. I don't know if you guys noticed, but they ran him outside the tackles a lot more last weekend. And you could, man, his vision, and I hate that I keep saying this, but it's so spot on. He's not Barry, but he's as close to Barry as we're gonna get. He's gonna be special. If he doesn't get hurt, he's Barry 2.0. His ball carrying vision, his athleticism, his quickness, and then you add that speed on top of it. And coming from a former high school running back, I can really let you know. But no, he's a complete package and catches the ball out of the backfield. He can block. I mean, they got a lot of crap for taking him where they took him, and he's been every bit, especially the last 3 games as he's gotten more touches, to show that why they took him there and why Brad Holmes was so excited when they took him. So for me, it's Jahmyr Gibbs.
Love the pick. I mean, yeah, you hear a lot of people shutting up now about that draft choice. I mean, because I saw some social media thing. It might have been ESPN, I don't know, but it was, is this the best running back tandem in the NFL? And it was Gibbs and Monty. And you just saw a lot of comments like that underneath, like, hey, you don't hear him talking about, don't take a running back right there now kind of thing. And I was like, hell yeah,
Right.
dude. That's why, Brad Holmes had built that trust. So we were like, okay. I mean, the initial reaction, to be honest,
sure.
was like,
For sure.
Did we really want a running back right there?
It's surprising. Yeah.
But how long did it take for us to turn the corner and be like, well, Brad Holmes knows what he's doing. I mean, Gibbs will be within an hour, probably.
Yeah, I was gonna say hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't take much. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm on board.
And then they traded Swift, and it was like, all right, it makes more sense.
Yeah.
Given he's tearing it up in Philly right now.
Well, yeah, for sure.
This is bound to happen. If he stayed healthy with the Lions, he would have tore it up in the Lions uniform too.
Right.
Yeah. Who do you got, Dean?
I feel like I went with I don't know, maybe it's not obvious. I mean, I guess Jahmyr could be an obvious choice as well, but or Branch. I went with Laporta. I think he's been huge for just overall. I mean, tight end is such a tough position to play in the NFL because you got to know the whole run game, you got to know the whole pass game, you got to know blocking assignments, you have to know when you're going to release, chip, and block. I mean, it's a tough position to play, which is why a lot of they say it takes tight ends to develop 2-3 years before they're actually really good. But he's come in and I mean he's looked every bit of an NFL tight end. I mean his blocking's really good. I mean watching him pull on the line and taking out guys. I mean just watching that alone. That's not even mention how clean he runs his routes. He's got great hands. Big. He's got. I'm just kidding. He's got but he's got great hands. He runs clean routes, and he blocks great. I mean that. He's been as a rookie tight end. He's been a complete tight end for the Lions, and can't wait to see where he goes from here. I mean, he could end up being. I don't want to put any expectations, but he could be in that top echelon of guys. I think he's already better than Hawkinson. if I'm going to be honest.
I feel like
just in a general overall. But
I feel like we've gotten more out of him than we've gotten out of Hawkinson so far.
And Hawkinson's a great tight end, but I just
I'm with you, man. That's a super tough position for a rookie, for anybody, right? But especially for a rookie, right. And I guess that's why I went with the other one, because another incredibly hard position to transition to in the NFL is corner. Or just in the secondary in general, but usually corner, and Branch plays a lot of slot. And so we see it. I wrote down 3 names because I'm like, one of those guys are going to be available. I'm good taking any one of those guys.
Right. Yeah. That's where I was too.
Yeah. I mean, Branch has just been a killer. He's been everywhere on the field every week. and he's just a guy that hasn't really let you down at all. He doesn't make bonehead plays. He seems to be in the right position every time. That goes to you with Dre Bly. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Dre's got him coached up,
knows
ready to
football.
go, man. So I don't know. I mean, how do you not love what all three of those guys have done so far? It's been somewhat of a surprise, but I I mean, to have that much contribution from that many rookies doing that well, it does seem like a little bit of surprise. And that kind of brings us into the last one here. And Dean, who is your biggest surprise or maybe comeback player?
Both.
What's that?
I had both.
Oh, you had one each. I kind
I
of
had
put
the
like a
other-
slash
I didn't
comeback
see
slash
that part.
surprise. Oh, you got both too? Well, off the top of the dome, who's been the biggest surprise to you or comeback player this year?
I can go while you think.
Yeah, go ahead. Give me a minute.
Biggest surprise for me is Julian Aquara. He's
Good
played
choice.
pretty well, considering we all thought he was going to get cut at some point this season or traded.
Yeah.
Really, has he been standout? No, but I feel like he's been better than Charles Harris. So yeah, that's my biggest surprise. I don't know if you want me to give you my comeback player too while I'm at
Sure.
it.
Why not? Why not?
My comeback player is Tracy Walker. I don't know if that was an easy decision or whatnot.
That's great.
Comeback, yeah, Tracy Walker. Man, ever since he's had the majority of snaps, that dude's been playing balls to the wall football. I mean, hard hit after hard hit. I mean, anytime the ball's there, especially, I don't know if you've noticed, like in a run play, most of the time he's there almost every single time, almost a little too aggressive at times. He's also tied for second on the team for most tackles. He has a sack. Yeah, no, that's pretty much all I have. Just a great comeback year for him after what happened last season. So
yeah, no doubt. Did you come up with one, Dean? You want me to go?
Yeah, I got an obvious one. I think I'm gonna go with Aleem
like
McNeil.
Julian Aquara.
Yeah, Julian Aquara. It's pretty obvious to everybody. No, I'm gonna go with Aleem McNeil. I think we all knew he was probably going to be pretty good, but I don't think we expected him to play this well, at least to this point in the season. Like I said earlier, I didn't say it earlier, but he's got roughly the same stats as Anzalone. So he had 3 sacks early. He's got 3 sacks, and he's stopping the run really well. And obviously that's a big part of his game is stopping the run, but he's also getting pressure as well, where pressure up the middle is the hardest thing for a quarterback to really defend. I mean, other than the blind side hits. But when you see that guy coming at you, you're getting rid of the ball no matter if a guy's open or not, or you're taking a sack. So I think he's been huge for that D line. I thought possibly D tackle was going to be something they looked into, especially with Paschal and Anzawarike. Both just kind of not really panning out so far because of injuries or whatever. So I think he's been huge for them. He's my biggest surprise, I suppose.
Nice, man. I mean, that's definitely a good choice. He's definitely he kind of fits both of those. I think little comeback, little surprise. He didn't really have to come back because he was a rookie last year, but I mean, he's stepped it up, and I kind of went kind of that same thought pattern. And to me, this guy kind of fits both of those because he was more surprised to me, and I guess not much of a comeback. But Josh Reynolds has been probably
a good one.
The biggest surprise to me this year in general, because he's always a guy that when we got him, off of waivers or whatever, couple years ago, it was nice because he just had some kind of rapport with Goff, and we were so bad that time that it was just nice to see something there. But he just never felt like a guy that you're planning. He's not
Keep
like,
around.
okay, he might be in the future plans, but if he's not, like, there's better options is always
Right.
kind of the feel. But he's really kind of grown, I think, within the offense. And I think it's only his chemistry with Goff has only gotten better. He hasn't had a big week in a week or two, but he's really. I mean, you wouldn't be surprised if he did next week or the week after or in the playoffs. He has a big game. He's that guy now that can be somebody, and it would be tough at this point for me to see him not be an active part of the offense. So he's been a surprise to me, and I just think he's really stepped it up. So yeah, that was yeah.
I think a good comparison, and obviously Amon-Ra's not right now on the same level, but to me, it's almost like Josh Reynolds is like TJ Hushmanzada, and
As soon
then
as you started,
Amon-Ra's
I knew
like,
you were about to say that.
yeah,
For some reason, I
I
knew you were
mean,
going there. Yeah.
a good number two, when you didn't think, he wasn't going to be a number two, Yeah, I mean, remember last season when they got what was it last season when they got Trinity Benson when they traded for Trinity Benson? It's like, well,
You
maybe
even
he
had him
can.
through camp this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, yeah, and oh, maybe he can get more production than Josh Reynolds, and so no, I like that pick a lot. I didn't even really think about that.
I didn't think about him either.
We'll see. We'll see what happens with DPJ. It looks like he's going to be potentially ready to go this week. So we'll see. And
I didn't know he was 24. I thought he'd been in the league for like 8
too old
years.
for you?
Yeah. I honestly thought he was like 29, 28. Like I thought he'd been in the league
Donovan?
for he'd been in the league for like 7 years. And I was like, oh, it's a good veteran presence. And then I looked
second or third year.
And then I
think
looked
it's
up
just,
like his stats and it was like 24. I was like, oh.
I think he's just someone that out of sight, out of mind.
Right.
So it's like he kind of just disappeared and you remember him from like Michigan.
Right, of course.
Mostly. So that feels like a while ago. I could see that. I could see that for sure. Plus all the drugs. So so yeah, that was fun, man. I mean, there was definitely some big surprises. Yeah. We'll go on to another surprise that is not as fun. Bill, what have you seen from the Pistons so far this week?
This week.
This week.
This season?
Within the last week.
Yeah. I just put they just can't get the job done. They're playing hard. They're playing hard.
Disturbingly hard.
Yeah. But I put on here, how long before you start questioning Troy Weaver and his job security? Eddie, I put on here, you brought it up before the season. He hasn't done a great job drafting. Now, given there's injuries, as we've talked about, but they've lost 9 straight. They're dead last in the league again. And then the next question, I think we even brought it up last week, and it's even more so this week. Why is Ivy still not getting meaningful minutes? And why is Killian and even worse, Kevin Knox getting more than him? It doesn't really make sense. And I know he's had that sickness, but like it's starting to get a little weird, right? Like, you'd think by now, and I don't know why a guy who they just picked up is getting more minutes than him when Ivy definitely has the higher ceiling. I don't get it, especially when at this point now, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, we were talking about maybe them getting up to 35, 40 wins. And now it's looking like they may not get to 20 at this point. So Cade needs help in a bad way. The poor guy's getting double teamed all over the floor all the time. He has no help on the floor at all at times, aside from Asar and when Duran's on the floor. On top of that, Cade's leading the league in minutes right now, which is fine if you had anyone else to help.
Well, he should be fresh.
Yeah, help him. It's frustrating. It's frustrating right now. And, I'm not putting this on Monty. He came into the situation. It really falls on Troy Weaver and his lack of, I guess, finding people. The Ivy thing's really starting to kind of confuse me, though.
Yeah, I'm wondering what's with Ivy. I mean, I know Monty Williams is a big defense guy, and Ivy's defense is pretty bad. And I wonder if that has something to do with it. Plus, maybe he's really hurt by, he had a real issue with being demoted to the bench at the beginning of the year, and then he seemed to was saying the right things, like, "No, I'm ready, good to go, whatever." But then he had 4 or 5 game illness there, or whatever. And you're just like, I don't know. It's confusing, and I hope he's just not throwing a fit because he's not the starter. And maybe it's just like
losing.
Yeah, and they're losing, and maybe it's just like, dude, you need to show at practice that you're ready to defend NBA guards. Like, he can score, he can make good decisions on offense. He's just not a good defender. And Killian probably is certainly a better defender, but he's just an all around. It just feels like a net loss usually. I mean, he had a couple good games, and that really worried me. Because Troy Weaver probably signed him to the rookie max extension after that 20-point game. Killian's finally. It's like, dude, just take the L. Take the L on Killian.
Yeah.
It's time. He's just not the dude. Let Sasser, Ivy, whatever. Anyway, we've beat that horse dead quite a bit. Dean, could you summarize the Pistons season so far in 10 words or less?
Let me see what I got here.
Look at my
Alexa
chart of words.
Just so you know, it's all simple words.
Is this part of it?
Yes. Start the word count.
You're at 7.
I put going downhill fast, but the potential is there. I think they have potential not to win this year, but I think they have potential to become something.
Yeah.
I'm explaining on the potential.
Yeah.
It ended at potential is there.
Yeah.
I mean, they show glimpses, Cade and Duran and even Beef Stew and Asar all play not bad basketball. They just don't have that one. I mean, they have that one guy in Cade per se, but they don't have his Robin. You know what I mean? Like, they don't have that number 2 guy yet. And I think that Asar could possibly become that guy, but he just needs time. And Duran, I mean, honestly, both those guys, we could have our big 3 right there, but we have to let them build together. And they're just so young still. I mean, again, going against grown men, these guys are basically just out of high school. You know what I mean?
Well, and you're right. I mean, Asar definitely, I think, is going to be that Robin to Cade. He's good. He's good.
As long as he's got to get that offense going.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he could be the third guy. Right now, at best, he could be a third guy. And then,
you shut your mouth.
if he's, well, hey man, I mean, he's got the third guy intangibles, right? Like that Draymond, that Dennis Rodman, that defense, rebounds, block, all that stuff he does really well all the time. I mean, he could choke somebody, could kick somebody in the nuts. I mean, who knows? We could use a little bit of that.
Did you see that last night? Draymond choking Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, had him in a headlock.
Yeah.
First 2 minutes of the game.
Rudy Gobert.
I like that.
Yeah, it was 0-0. Rudy Gobert tried to pull Klay Thompson off of, I can't remember who the other dude was, and Draymond comes running up from behind, jumps on his back, and puts him in a chokehold.
He's lucky. Rudy's lucky.
Yeah.
Rudy's lucky he didn't get Falcon punched out of the building.
Draymond got suspended 5 games.
Yeah. You know,
So
it's what he
Makes sense.
do. So
yeah, that's definitely what he do.
it's what he do. He wins championships and chokes people out.
It's been a while.
Yeah, so young, talented, a little disappointing. Moving on to young and talented and a little surprising sometimes.
Hello.
Dean, what do you got with the Red Wings?
Hello. Yeah, I mean, they're sitting good right now. I mean, they're 5th in the conference, 3rd in the Atlantic Division. I think they're still trying to build that chemistry within the other lines. Obviously Larkin and DeBrincat and Raymond have been solid so far, especially Larkin and DeBrincat. Those guys have their chemistry pretty worked out already. The problem is getting it all the way around. And then they still need a better strategy for power plays when they're on the power play. They just, it seems like we've already talked about it, but if the other team just keeps pressuring them, they don't get up the ice, and it just seems like they're still playing in their zone a lot of the time. And then you're wasting, it's only 2 minutes. You're wasting 30 seconds just trying to get the puck out of your own blue zone.
Go to a Griffins game.
Not as good of hockey, huh?
No,
I figured it'd be the same.
Their power play sucks.
Oh,
It's like watching Red Wings light. Sorry.
Yeah, they need a better strategy for that, and maybe some better goaltending. I think they're playing in Sweden this coming Thursday night, coming off a win against Columbus. Hopefully they can get another little run in again. But I mean, they got a tough 3 games coming up, so we'll see what happens. They're still young. They're still trying to build that chemistry. Obviously, we can see that the talent is there, and they just need to put it all together.
No doubt. Bill, what do you think?
Pretty much Dean said it all. Still early. They're only 8 points behind Boston. Considering they lost 4 in a row or something like that. Saturday was a good needed win for them. I did catch some of that game and some highlights afterwards. Husso looked lost again. He just didn't look great. That's something they're going to need to figure out if they're going to want to take a next step. I just don't. I've never been a big backer of Husso anyway. I mean, I was kind of like that last year. I mean, I don't hate the guy, but there's times that you're just like, what are you doing? What are you looking at? You know what I mean? I mean, I'm not no NHL goalie, but I mean, it's just at times it's just I don't get it. The defense wasn't great on Saturday. But still, it doesn't. I said it doesn't excuse Husso's performance. I know they did win. I think his save percentage is like 88%, which is not great.
Yeah.
Which is not great. Like Eddie said last week, it'll be a good season to hopefully make the playoffs, and then build from there. So that's what I got on them.
Yeah, man, I'm with you. I mean, what more can you say about the team? And I agree. I just hoping they stay up in the 4th or better in the division, and just if they're hanging there, then you're looking good. I think that's such an improvement if they can hold it over the season. It is a tough division, and they actually started out pretty decent last year too, and then once we got about halfway in, it kind of fell apart. This is a different team, no question. But we'll see what kind of endurance, what kind of stamina they have to make it through the season. It's a long one, and we'll see, man. I'm still excited. I still love watching.
Yeah.
It's been great. I mean, you had to know that it was going to come down. Like we've talked every time we bring them up now that it was just bound to be down. I'd like to see them string some wins together again. I mean, just any. They haven't won back-to-back since that 5-game stretch at the beginning of the season. So it'd be nice to see them just be a little more consistent and get a
Just
couple
get
more wins under their
points.
belt.
Points.
Bill, I don't know if you have it up. Last I saw, the Chips were down 17-7 to Ohio. What are the points on that right now? Do you got that by chance? I just figure it's as good as we're going to get for the Chips tonight.
Yeah, no, it's 31-20. Fourth quarter, 7 minutes to go. So
Ohio, obviously.
Yeah, good fight from them. Looks like Central might have just scored it actually. Oh no.
I had some good notes
anyways,
on that.
31-20. 31-20. Jace Bauer 6 of 17 for 121 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, it's one of those things, man. So did you have stuff for the others? I mean, I have the score. I know kind of what happened. I talking about team without points. Western got shut out by NIU yesterday. 24-0. Did you have anything on that, Bill?
No, just Hayden Wolf was 18 of 31 at 182 yards. No touchdowns, obviously. Buckley and Abdul Salam, 12 carries, 39 yards combined. Rocky Lombardi, your boy, 9 of 17, 92 yards. Again, no touchdowns. And Tario Brown, 21 carries, 159 yards, 2 touchdowns. So,
yeah,
they goose egged them up.
Yeah, that's a rough go. I mean, Western has that. It's a different offense. They do that hurry up rush offense, and if you shut that down, you're gonna have a real rough time. Because when I was looking at it, I didn't watch the game. I thought 24-0. Dear Lord, man, and they didn't even have a turnover. Western, they just punted all game up until their last drive, which was as close as they got to the end zone, and they lost it on 4th down, and that was it. So yeah, that's the give and take on that situation, man. If your rush ain't working and you don't have a pass to rely on, it's that
also took them out of bowl contention as well. So.
Well, and that moves us on to a team that kept themselves in bowl contention. The Eagles, double overtime victory over Akron. Do you guys have anything on that?
Just Austin Smith was 20 of 32, 214 and touchdown. Samson Evans had a game, 15 carries, 71 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Jeff Underclifford Jr. was 19 of 26 for 223 yards for Akron. Lorenzo Lingard, 26 carries, 71 yards, and a touchdown for the Zips of Akron, who the Great Lakes Gridiron podcast had said they would not win 4 games this year. And they are correct. Akron sucks. So
they do suck.
Good win for Eastern. Good win for Dooley.
They didn't look that bad against EMU. That's for sure. I just put down. It looked like Austin Smith had his best game that he's had this season. I know that touchdown came late in one of the overtimes that he threw. And I mean, I don't think that game should have been that close considering how bad Akron is. But I watched the highlights on it, and they didn't look bad. They didn't look like a 2-8 team at the time. But a win nonetheless. So good for EMU.
Yeah, man, good for the Eagles. Big win. Like I said, keeps them in bowl contention where they play Buffalo in their season finale. Should be a big one for them. Try to get into a bowl game. So, good luck to those Eagles out there. Good luck, Dooley. Reach for the brass ring, as they say. And go from there.
Yep.
So, moving on to another team that can't seem to put many points on the board. State gets spanked by State 38-3. Dean, did you watch? Did you care? Did you cry? Were you happy? Unmoved? Are you numb?
I was numb. I don't have much. I just wrote down. There's not much to say. It was an expected outcome. Uh, Ohio State was just there's too much for Michigan State to handle, especially with everything going on and how bad the coaching currently is. I don't think there was a good game plan going into that game. And that was pretty
You
obvious.
don't say.
But they didn't get goose egged. So that's a small victory for us Sparty fans on that one.
No, Bill, was there anything that got you going on that?
What got me going was Keaton Hauser's 12-24 with 92 yards. Nathan Carter was 11 carries, 52 yards for the Spartans of Michigan State. Kyle McCord, 24-31, 335, 3 touchdowns. And Travion Henderson, 13 carries, 63 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 crying fits by Ryan Day.
Yeah, Kyle Heisman was looking good out there, man. So I guess we'll see.
Kyle Heisman. Oh, what a joke.
Oh, Kyle Mick Heisman. Sorry. I know you get upset if I don't pronounce it right. Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know if I don't really believe that, but it's yeah, it was no surprise. Like I said, preseason, it was one of our 3 sacrifices on TV this year. And that's what it was. I mean, they went on national TV late at night and just got absolutely slaughtered by a much better team, much better coach team. And it is what it is, man. I mean, I don't think we expected anything different. So at this point, it's just like, let's get to the end of the season. Let's see what coach they can get. You know, with the Urban MSU thing, is that over with Texas A&M's opening? Do you think?
I don't know. It's gotten quiet, right?
Mm-hmm.
You started to hear some other names for Michigan State. You know, you brought it up. Toledo's head coach, Leipold from Kansas. You started hearing some of those names and not as much Urban. I don't see him going to Texas A&M. Like, I get because of the school, but they're pretty comparable when you think of, like, as far as revenue goes and things like that. The money I don't think would be an issue because I think Michigan State can offer the same amount of money anyway. I think they were going to, based on rumor and whatnot. So I don't think it's money, and I don't think if his wife really has a say in this thing, I don't really know if they really want to move to Texas.
Right.
You know, that close. So it does kind of put a wrinkle in it, with that job opening up. But I don't know if Urban even goes to Texas A&M. So that's my thoughts.
No, what do
If
you
he
think,
does,
Dean?
whatever.
What's that?
Yeah. Do you have any thought on that?
Yeah. I watched an interview where he was asked about both MSU and Texas A&M. And he said that, I mean, I think it's all smoke and mirrors. But he said he had no desire, loves what he's doing, and that ship has sailed. I think it's smoke and mirrors just to kind of get people off his back about it, but it wouldn't surprise me if he did go to Texas. The problem is I feel like Texas A&M already somewhat can get decent recruits. I mean, they're in Texas. So even if you're getting like, the Longhorns, second or third choices, that won't take them, you know what I mean, at Texas, you're still getting some pretty legitimate guys. I mean, I don't know Texas A&M's roster, or you know what I mean, or even what their record is currently right now. I assume, obviously, if they're looking they hired Jimbo Fisher, right, or fired him. Is that was
Yeah.
Texas A&M?
Yeah.
Yeah.
After a
clearly,
win too.
right. So clearly they're having issues that they're willing to pay Jimbo Fisher for the next 7 years. Did you see that?
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
how
that
you
was
get
the whole
fired.
reason. I was like, I don't know if he'll go this year because I know they got that old oil money over there, but 77 million just to make a guy go away.
Right.
I guess the boosters are only putting up 20 up front only. Boosters are putting up 20 up front, and then the school athletic department pays out like 7 a year for the next 10 years or something.
Yes,
ridiculous.
something I heard even crazier, right? This is not, it can't be possible. I don't think it would happen at all. But I had read a thing that Dan Campbell was named a wild card candidate for that job as well, because because that was his alma mater and stuff. And I was like, I swear, if he leaves to go to Texas A&M, I know he's not, but especially with the way things are going.
But if he did,
could you imagine if we were on the downside like a little bit and he was just like, well.
Sure.
I don't know. I wanted to bring that up because I thought that was insane that anybody would even suggest it. But you never know. You know what I mean? I doubt
tough job.
You never know. That could be his it could be a dream job for him. We don't know.
I mean, yeah, but the
he cried when he got the Lions job. Can you imagine if he got Texas A&M? What about everybody's kneecaps?
College is such a tough job with having to recruit all year long and dealing with kids essentially, you know, and you're on a team now. Yeah, the parents, boosters. Whereas, you know, you have you have Sheila, and you have Brad. You know, essentially you have a smooth track right now. Gravy train. So
yeah, it'd be tough to see him leave.
Sorry, Aggies.
But money talks, man. That'd be the only reason. You know, they'll be like, well, we'll double. And I think, honestly, the Lions might consider matching that. And so, looks like the final just came in. Bobcats beat CMU. So CMU's I think they were done bowling anyway.
They're 5-6.
But yeah, I just can't see them. That makes them 5-6. Oh yeah, because they have Toledo, I think, at the end of the year. So I assumed we were done.
It'll be the end of the
but you know, Toledo barely beat Bowling Green the other day, so who knows, man. Yeah, you know, I thought that was interesting. I think A&M is a better job in general than Michigan State. I think comparable to their conference, they're kind of the same school in their conference. But Texas A&M does seem to do better recruiting wise. Like, I think he would go into a better situation roster wise at A&M. They've been and have like top 10 recruiting classes since Jimbo's been there. Like, he's been, especially before NIL, people were like, what's he, you know, like, is he paying these guys? Like, those are the classes he was pulling in at A&M. And that's also the reason why he's fired, because he's not getting it done with those guys.
Right.
And so, I thought that was interesting. And I saw the odds on favorite right now, actually, for the A&M job, just based on betting, is Mike Elko, the Duke coach. But that's also kind of like he's a Texas guy. He actually coached at Texas A&M before, but with Jimbo Fisher. So who knows if they'll want to bring back a Fisher assistant.
Right.
You know, Duke's kind of taken a hit as the season's gone on too.
Right.
But and then the other guy is Jeff Traylor from UTSA, where the only job he's actually ever had outside of Texas is he was at Arkansas in 2018-19 as their associate head coach running back. So that guy's a Texas man through and through. High school coach, college coach. He left for a year. He's like I gotta go back. I gotta go back to Texas, baby.
any college.
Anywhere, UTSA.
You said he's at UTSA, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So he's still in Texas.
Yeah. I said he left for a year. He was at Arkansas in 2018-19.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, you're bad, bro.
I just watched UTSA.
No, you're Jeff Traylor.
I just watched UTSA the other night. They were playing Rice.
Yeah, they won too, didn't they?
Yeah, rat bastard screwed me on a bet.
Screwed me on a sick parlay.
Rice scored. They recovered a fumble, but he was down, and then Rice scored a touchdown with like a minute to go. Anyways, that doesn't matter.
You brought up
let's get to
if I brought up Jason Candle before, it's not because I want him to be the coach of Michigan State. I hope they do not hire Candle as the coach at Michigan State. Yes. I don't want that to be confused on how you say. You said I brought up Candle.
You did.
I don't think anybody who's been a group of 5 head coach at the same school for more than 5 or 6 years should be considered for a major Power 5 job yet. And maybe he'll be amazing, but I'm just not on that. If they hired him, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but whatever.
We talked about that with Brian Kelly.
BK. Your guy.
BK.
Your boy.
I mean, he's great for our Pick'em show.
Yeah, no doubt. Take the over, baby. Take the over. Speaking of overs, not this week, but had been hitting some. Michigan bets on themselves, as I said earlier, beats Penn State 24-15.
Bet
all the running you can handle in a game, Bill.
Mm-hmm.
Have you?
Yeah. No, it was something. Just for note, if you know already, JJ was only 7 of 8 for 60 yards. Blake Corum 145 for two touchdowns. So I'm gonna keep this short, mainly because we're starting to run over. Dominating performance. The score isn't really indicative of how the game went. Even though they won by 9 still, but it was dominance on pretty much every front that you could imagine. I don't know if you guys watched the game. I assume not, but if you did, it was it was amazing. As far as they threw the one pass attempt by JJ in the second half. I think it was ended up being pass interference or something like that. But JJ was playing well regardless. So for them to just pound it the whole second half and just giving a big middle finger to Penn State was awesome to see, being a Michigan fan. Some Michigan fans didn't like that. They didn't understand, and it is what it is. But when you go and you just run the ball against the number 1 rush defense, at least in the Big Ten, it might have been second in the country, regardless. And you assert your will on that team, and they asked Harbaugh in his press conference, was that the game plan? Was that he goes, we took them out of their game. That's not the game they wanted to play. And I'm kind of like, I feel like that was the game that they kind of wanted to play with how good they are on rush defense. Just to with everything going on, it was a good convincing win. They scored that touchdown late. Whatever. It was still a very good win against a very good team. My only thing with Penn State is they fired their offensive coordinator. I don't know if you saw that. James Franklin is not a good big game head coach. He's not. He's terrible. There were some baffling things when they went for it on 4th down at the 30, their own 30, with like 4.5, 5 minutes to go. I'm like, even I was like, what are you doing, dude? You still have 2 timeouts. What are you doing?
The field goal in the first, or the 2-point conversion attempt in the first half?
Yeah.
Like, why?
Yeah.
Like, that's dumb. Sense. Why would you not take your point?
Made no sense. And really, it kind of, I mean, I guess it didn't really matter, but it would have came back to bite him again. So,
And then going for it again the first time after
mhm,
they scored that touchdown. I'm like, why are you
yeah,
going for that now?
yeah,
You're gonna take
yeah,
yourself out of the game if you miss it.
baffling
It
decision.
was. Yeah,
So,
the moment gets too big for him, apparently.
yeah, yeah. So, no, good game. Um, it would be, I I like it in the sense that I don't think they gave too much up as far as what they want to do against Ohio State. If they have plays that they want to keep under wraps, we don't need people stealing our plays. That's what we do. So, so
I don't
yeah,
know,
no,
Dean, did
good
you
win.
have anything on that?
I put down they ran the ball effectively to a point to where they didn't need to pass the ball. Um, especially I was looking at it, and their top three rushers, which were Quorum, Edwards, and McCarthy, all averaged over 4 yards a carry. Quorum was at 5.6. If you're averaging 5.6 yards a carry, you're never going to have to pass the ball. I mean, rush it twice, you got yourself a first down. Even Edwards had 5.2. So I mean, overall, I mean,
Great touchdown run too.
in the pass defense was locked down for Michigan as well. Um, they made it hard for Penn State to do a lot in general on offense, and it showed, holding them to 15 points. So it was an overall good win for Michigan. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I watched that game, and it was what Bill said. I mean, just up front, the line, offense and defense of Michigan is just too much for what Penn State had, and kind of let Michigan be able to control the game pretty much the whole time, and it didn't seem in doubt. The game didn't feel in doubt.
No.
Uh, yeah, and so I don't know. Yeah, it was interesting. A lot of things happened out there in the field. A lot of emotions, come out. It was a very, very, very emotional win. Bill, where you at on this Harbaugh off the sidelines? Does it bring a tear to your eye?
Uh very very emotional post game. I can, a lot of people said those are crocodile tears, a lot of fake tears, anything for a show. I don't believe that. I truly think that they truly do feel like a family, very connected, and with everything going on, trying to tune out the noise. I think that was a very real post game interview. Um, it did seem like Harbaugh was on his deathbed, but regardless, when you're there every day, and those are the people you're with. But
I know they
as
should
far
have been
as
like, he's only like 10 minutes away, right?
right,
let's go to Olive Garden. We're family.
um,
When you're at Michigan,
you asked me about the suspension.
Yeah.
take a breadstick. What are you doing?
I think the suspension was unwarranted at the time that they handed it down. Friday afternoon, I don't know why you waited that long. I texted you guys that day, and I said, you literally just pissed off one of the best teams in the country. And if I were Penn State, I'd be upset. If I was James Franklin, I'd be like, what are you doing? I mean, they didn't need any more motivation going into that game. Call it bulletin board material, call it whatever you want. It's still emotion, um it's still those types of things. Um I get if the suspension came, if there was a conclusion to everything. Um but I don't think it's over. So I think it was terrible timing by the Big Ten. I feel like they got pressured into it um, by some schools. I'm not going to name them. We all know who they are, and I'm not saying it's Sparty either. I think we all know who it is. I did read something where it said Michigan should just embrace the villain role. It was a pretty good article, and honestly, I agree. Eddie, you brought it up a week or two ago. If you win the Big Ten and you win the Natty, and they have to vacate, you still won it, right? I mean,
Exactly.
you know, call it what you will. I don't think they'll have to vacate anything. But also that's my bias as well, being a
Oh, I
Michigan
thought you
fan.
meant because they'll lose in the playoff.
Oh.
I thought that's what you were saying.
We'll see you next week. No, with that said, they definitely aren't going to be overlooking Maryland this weekend. I think the line reflects that. I think it was at minus 19 at the time that I looked at it, which was earlier. Just a couple
Sounds right.
real quick press conference notes from when they talked to Harbaugh. Him saying Michigan should be America's team, I thought was a little funny. It's like no one likes Michigan unless you're outside, you're a Michigan fan. He talked about how resilient the team's been. He said he was going to talk at court on Friday when they discussed the suspension. The one thing that really got me, and this is why I brought this whole thing up, besides, did you guys see the whole thing about him talking about his chickens and how like he just started going into how a chicken is raised
at the
he's
press
like,
conference?
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I got chickens.
He's such a Jim Harbaugh thing to do.
He goes, they start out as baby chickens, then they turn into teenager chickens, then adult chickens. He goes, I really respect the chicken. He goes, I used to say they're a scared bird, but they're low maintenance, highly productive. I'm like, dude, what do you do? It's hilarious. That guy
runs a perfect post pattern.
Yeah.
He's just firing away at these chickens.
He said he plays with them. They're happy to see him. He said that when he does a good thing for other people, they're not as happy to see him as his chickens are. He said it's good for his mental health, and he says he gets fresh eggs every day. So
that's good, man. It's real good.
But the one thing that does stick out in that whole press conference was he said that they found out via social media the suspension on the plane. Him and Ward Manuel on the plane, they found out the suspension. They didn't find out from the conference first. And that really, it's like, that's not a good look.
Is Michigan going independent or what?
Yeah, I doubt it. But yeah. So yeah, I just we'll see what happens Friday. It'll be interesting to see. I really want to see what he has to say and if they allow him to talk, and we'll see what happens from there.
Yeah, should be interesting.
Yeah.
So I agree with you on that. Just that it's definitely premature. And I know they're getting pressure. But I mean, they've got to please however many. I mean, they just got to remember that if there's I don't know if there will be a situation similar to this in the future, but if there was, they would have to consider the same type of steps. So I don't know. Like I said, that's the only thing I thought about the suspension. It's just premature.
Well, and it's like Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't have done it Thursday. You couldn't have called them up that night and been like, hey, you probably don't want to travel with the team. So they had to find out on the plane.
Well, geez, could you imagine if he wasn't? Where were they? In Pennsylvania? How hard Sharon Moore would have been crying, knowing you couldn't see him till they got back to Michigan. Just call me when I get back to the locker room, Jim, so to make sure you're okay. Just need to hear your voice. Smell your musk. Feel your hands on my back.
That's that support, man.
Hey,
Talk
man. Hey,
about your chickens.
It's all us
it was just-
Walmart
it was
Wolverines.
it was just funny. That's all.
No, yeah.
I mean,
I was
it's
just like,
it's
oh,
great to
man.
feel that kind of passion and whatever. I mean, why wouldn't you want that? But it was funny
Yeah.
for everybody else.
Right.
Whatever. He probably doesn't think twice about it. So that's all that really matters.
Yeah.
Okay. Dean, did you have anything on that?
No, not really. It's like
Ooh, Dean.
What? It's a
Bad
three-game
answer.
it's a 3-game suspension, huh?
Bad answer, Dean.
Oh,
Because
no.
I tally up the score. Tallying up the score of this episode.
Hey, we said Hank Fraley together. We said Sewell and St. Brown together. The points are adding up here.
I mean,
The points are adding up.
I definitely added that in, but Bill had real succinct thoughts on that stuff
Thank
too.
Thank you.
And
Been practicing.
your lack of follow through on Harbaugh's suspension cost you. And Bill, if you have,
It's not something you
anything
can
for
eat.
Dean?
It's something that you can feel.
okay, perfect.
I'm just kidding.
All right.
Blindfold, Dean.
Get my hands
Turn your
ready.
lights off.
It's not a frog, is it?
I can't even open it to cut it.
What is it?
To cut it.
So you're gonna need to unwrap
This
this
is
and take a piece. This Limburger cheese.
Limburger cheese.
I want you to take a whiff.
Oh.
Ooh.
Can I get a knife or something? I don't want to take a
cheese.
bite out of it.
Get a chunk, bro.
I've never had Limburger cheese.
Can you
I
hold
might-
it up?
Can
I
you
see
grab
it?
me a trash bag? It smells terrible.
What is that? Brown?
It's fresh too. I just bought it.
It's fresh.
There you go.
It's white.
Oh, okay. What's the
That
smell
does-
like?
Like dirty feet.
It's like a
And-
stinky cheese.
Dude,
It's
it
like-
is
it's
so
like a
bad.
stinky
I-
cheese.
It's like
I
a
un-
stinky cheese.
I unwrapped it and I couldn't do it anymore. I almost threw up.
I mean, I can smell it. I've never had stinky cheese before.
You're not
it's
ready for
the-
that cheese.
I am not ready for this
The
cheese.
the store didn't have what I really wanted.
Can-
So.
What was it?
Ox
friggin',
balls.
Oh my gosh.
It might. I don't. What is in this? Hold on.
It's dude, I
Cheese.
just bought that 4 hours ago. It's been in the fridge.
It says enzymes.
All right, let me while you're on
Yes.
I don't please,
Hold on.
please
I'll be right
just-
back.
Ugh.
He's gonna go take his pants off.
It smells like death, dude. It smells like roadkill.
Really? Like
Yeah,
that?
It's legit. Like
Anybody
smells
who's had Limburger cheese, if you're watching, comment on that. I've never smelt it. That's the first time I've ever even seen it that I can remember.
Limburg is rated as one of the stinkiest cheeses in the world. Dude, it smells like something died on the side of the road.
Counting on Bill to bring in the stinky cheese.
It's no secret that Limburger cheese stinks. Its legendary odor has been compared to body odor, stinky feet, and a variety of dead or dying creatures.
Smells like butthole in here. And it's not from the cheese. Man, that is rough. You're a dirty bastard.
I feel kind of bad. I'm not gonna lie.
You should have
Um,
had more to say about Harbaugh.
Yeah, this is my fault. So-
cheese.
What if I like it, though?
Cheese.
Then
There's a
that's
small
good.
chance I like it. I don't think I will. It smells like cow
You
manure.
might. Maybe it's like the smell's bad, but the flavor inside is just
Someone
like,
said Someone
waiting
said
to
I
be
purchased
unlocked.
it actually tastes very good, but you have to like smelly cheese.
Yeah, that's an acquired taste. Smelly cheese is not for somebody that eats American craft singles regularly.
A non-cheese.
Dude, that is the longer
So
it's
bad.
the longer it's sat out, the worse it's gotten. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's just sitting
I kept
open on
it
my desk
cold.
right in front of my face, so it's just wafting. I'm like, I can't
It's
open
covered
this.
in a pale rind and aged 2 to 5 months.
I was gonna say I don't think I'm supposed to eat the outside part of that.
What? No, what?
Dude,
It
there's no
looks-
way. There's no
It
way.
looks
I
like
could-
there's mold on the outside, but I don't think
That's
it's
part of the
actually-
cheese. That's part of the cheese.
It's part
That's a
of the cheese.
stinky.
Does it
It's a
say you
stinky
can eat
mold.
the
You
mold?
like it?
I had to grab a trash can. That's why, just in case. What if I'm like, I'm a stinky cheese guy? I'm just leaving open Limburgers in the fridge.
Oh God. It just smells like pure death in our apartment.
Not death. It smells like somebody crapped their pants. Just left it in the trash for a while. All right. You get a piece of this. We're gonna do it. I'm gonna try to eat it. I'll try to actually
Will
eat
you
it.
smell it before you eat it?
I've been smelling it. What do you mean, like right up to my? I mean,
yeah, get a good stinky.
let me get a good. That is a rough one. How about
I don't know how you're doing that. Can we?
what?
I.
What about an egg?
Well,
what
what do you
all we
mean you
gave
don't know
was
how
an
he's
egg.
doing that? He has to live with
Dude.
his own crotch, bro. That's a stinky cheese.
Here's the thing: it looks nice on the inside. It looks like a creamy cheese on the inside.
Can we see?
It
I
don't
couldn't
smell
even
like
open
cream. Don't smell like creamy cheese. I don't know if I can eat the outside part.
Of course you can.
Didn't it say it came in a
does it say
rind?
on the packaging to not eat the outside?
I don't know. He ripped up this front part.
It says it's a rind cheese.
Yeah.
Oh, rind cheese.
Yeah.
That's the best part of the cheese.
It's
Oh,
like
look
a
at
little
that
butter.
piece.
It's teasing me. I don't know if I can do it, guys. It's teasing me. Oh, it's on my fingers now. So you guys want to go to work tomorrow, guys? Take a look at what I did. Like, oh my
Dude.
gosh!
Like, take it back.
What were you doing? Is that an
It's
animal?
like worth getting a time machine for.
Dude.
You might want to throw this knife away. It's got cheese residue on it.
Oh. Dude. Dude,
All right.
smell this.
Grab that.
It might
Yes,
be
it-
really good.
It might be.
I bet you
But I
don't. I
want-
bet it doesn't make you puke.
Yeah.
I don't
like
think
I
I'm.
said,
But I needed something to
said it just
spit
sm-
into.
It just smells bad, but a lot of people said it tastes good. So maybe I did you a favor. Seriously.
Oh, sorry. Probably gonna hear me swear a couple of times during this. All right.
Maybe
well,
not.
down the hatch, right? This is the
Down
You
the
want to do
hatch,
the
punishment.
one
baby.
chip challenge, so
Screw that, man. I'd rather gag my way to the likes. Well, the closer it gets to your face, it becomes less enticing. It looks creamy and smooth like Swiss cheese. All right, I just gotta go for it. Hold on, let me do this real quick. Sorry, I know this is taking a while, but
no, you're fine.
I don't trust that outside part.
Oh, you got to have the rind.
All right,
It's a
fine.
rind cheese.
It's that rind cheese, but it feels
It's not
hard. Man, that
Dude,
does. That smells like shit.
Yeah, it's terrible.
All over my
It's
fingers
bad.
now. The longer I hold it, it's melting in my hands. I'm never gonna get this smell off of me. All right.
I've been there. Shamefully.
I gotta be ready to gag a lot. So
You might
getting-
like it.
I might. A lot of the time, what you're smelling is also
It's
what
like-
you're gonna taste.
I tried
Just
tried
a little
mushrooms
preview.
last week on a pizza. It was delicious.
I don't see no pizza here, Bill.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. The more you don't think about it, the easier it'll be. 3. It just the smell, man. The smell.
I know.
That's where it is. That's what it's doing. If it just
I couldn't
like
even-
smelled,
Eddie, I couldn't even open it.
I mean, I've been sitting in my room. My whole room smells like it now. On top of my fingers and my breath. Here in a minute. right,
You had
we
a
gotta-
wild night.
We got to end this episode. Let's do this thing.
They smell my eyebrows.
You're distracted. I'm trying to focus here. I'm kind of like Bill with the egg. It's like I don't want to do it, but
Oh,
it's like a little slab of butter. You know, it's
Little
melting
slab
in
of
my
butter.
hands. Just a little. All right, 3, 2, 1.
I thought he was gonna... Oh! That was instant. Oh my gosh. There was no hesitation. No way.
No, the worst part is now when it. The thing is,
Oh.
I can't talk. You like a stinky cheese?
He's like, it's still not the worst thing I put in my mouth.
I took a second smaller bite of this.
I said, why did you do that to yourself?
Just one more little taster.
The problem is, every time I go to gag, into the trash now smells like that cheese. So it makes it.
Oh my god.
Here, run a piece over to Bill real quick.
No.
I redid the score.
Oh God.
Oh man. Oh, I can't wait for the next one.
Oh,
Wow. Wow.
Oh man.
oh,
So you're gonna keep that?
you know,
That's what-
I kind of liked it.
He's gonna make a Lindbergh grilled cheese here after this.
I think we're good.
You think we're good?
I think we're good.
It's on the back of my teeth.
Oh, thanks for tuning in to the Silver Jubilee +1 episode of the BDE Sports Talk podcast. You guys have a great week.
Sports talk.